How goes it, everyone? I'm the world famous Fat Kid, and we are doing Week 5 picks today. Got a couple doozies, a lot of divisional matchups, and the start of some London games. Woo, buddy. Yay, 8:30 football. Wow, that's cool. All Sunday, we're going to have football. So here we go. We're going to start with our Thursday night game. Tampa Bay Bucks taking on the Atlanta Falcons, and whoo boy, this one's kind of tough because Tampa Bay just rolled through Philly like it was nothing. But Atlanta, late game-winning field goal against the division rival Saints, both coming off of pretty big wins to try to shift some momentum. Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Cousins is settling in nicely for Atlanta, but I am going to go with the Bucks. Tampa Bay, Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Godwin, even White is coming around right now on the offense. Bucks win. Yeah, sound like a chicken. Anyway, let's move on to our first London game of the year. It is the New York Jets going up against the Minnesota Vikings. And, oh boy, Jets losing a heartbreaker to the Broncos because of a missed field goal. Ugh. And then the Vikings handling the Packers for a half and then still holding on to win. Vikings 4-0. Even though it's in London, technically it's a home game for the Vikings. Aaron Rodgers has experience against the Vikings. Not this Vikings team. I'm going with the Vikings. They're too much of a juggernaut right now. Until they show a crack in the armor, they're going to be hard to beat. Honestly, I thought they were going to lose to San Francisco, and they just whooped them. So I don't think the Jets have too much of a chance. Maybe some Aaron Rodgers magic. Oh, that sounded weird. But Minnesota. Next, we got Carolina Panthers taking on the Chicago Bears. Carolina losing a relative close one to Cincinnati. 10 points, 2 scores. That's close. And the Bears, what did they do? Oh, that's right. They beat the Rams, the very injury-riddled, depleted Rams. But I can't sugarcoat this one. Bears win. They're better than the Panthers. Granted, Caleb Williams isn't exactly lighting the world on fire, but they are a better team than Carolina. Then we move on to an AFC North divisional matchup. Baltimore Ravens taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals getting their first win of the year against Carolina, and Baltimore looking stout against another AFC playoff potential team, the Buffalo Bills. Divisional games are always rough, especially these two. And of course, the only one more rough in this is Baltimore and Pittsburgh. But I'm going with the Ravens. They looked really good. They look to be starting their stride. Cincinnati struggles. They beat a bad team, which you're supposed to do. Kudos for that, but it was closer than it should have been. I'll put it that way. Then we move on to the Buffalo Bills and the Houston Texans. Both 3-1. Buffalo coming off of that loss against Baltimore, which we just spoke about. And Houston coming off of a win against Jacksonville. A close game win. Now, granted, Like I said, it was a divisional game. Divisional games are usually tougher. But Houston has the weapons. Buffalo has a decent defense, and they also have Josh Allen. Granted, I did just see Von Miller is suspended for personal policy conduct, like violation of the conduct, which I don't know. I didn't look into it yet, but that could be really bad because he's been wreaking havoc on offenses. So, I was leaning towards Houston, and I'm going to continue to lean towards Houston. Houston Texans win. It should be a good game. It should be a fun game. I'm going to assume a high-scoring game, but Houston's going to win in the end. Next, we have an AFC South divisional matchup. Indianapolis Colts taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and there's nothing good to say about Jacksonville right now. They're in Florida. That's a touchy subject right now. Yeah, their football team is bad. Nothing is going right. And Indy just came off of a win against a very good Pittsburgh Steelers team. Anthony Richardson, he did go down in that game, but Flacco came in and served his purpose very well, played extremely well. And I saw something about Richardson, thinks he'll be ready for week 5. But here's the thing, even if he's not, I think Flacco will be able to hold this team afloat. And he's going up against a defense that is nowhere near the caliber of the Steelers. So, Indy wins. Yeah, I'm taking the Colts in this one. Jacksonville hasn't shown me anything. They fought real hard against Houston, but they still came up short. They're not looking good in any phase right now. Next, Miami Dolphins taking on the New England Patriots in an NFC East showdown. And the Dolphins don't have a quarterback. Their offense is all out of whack. The defense can't really stop anybody. The Titans dominated their game on Monday, and it's not looking good for them. Patriots got beat by the San Francisco 49ers, which a lot of teams over the years have gotten beaten by the San Francisco 49ers. So I'm just laying it out there. Patriots win. They have a good defense. Their offense is subpar, but it's better than the Dolphins. If you stack them against each other in each phase, New England has the edge in every single phase. So, yeah, Miami's going to skid until they can find a suitable replacement for Tua, or Tua comes back, which I haven't heard anything about. Granted, I'm also not necessarily digging for that. Anyway, Patriots win. Then, moving on to the Cleveland Browns taking on the Washington Commanders. Cleveland just lost a pretty close game, but a very ineffective game against the Raiders, which they had a scoop and score to make it 20-16, and they had the ball driving late, and, well, it didn't go very well for them. And then Washington just put a drubbing on, see, it was Arizona, right? See, this is why I shouldn't doubt myself. Yeah, it was Arizona. They just beat down Arizona. I think Washington is on the rise. Jaden Daniels is playing good. The offense is clicking. The defense is better than what I thought it was going to be. And yes, broad term of defense because, like I've said before, I pay more attention to my individual players on the Raiders, not necessarily individual players on other teams. I know some of the names, not a lot. But I'm taking Washington. They should be able to handle whatever offensively Cleveland throws at them. And Their defense, yeah, Cleveland's defense is pretty good, but I kind of like this Washington offense. So I'm going to take the Commanders. Strange saying that. I think I've picked them maybe 4 times in the year plus I've been doing this. And yes, I've hit over a year. Granted, there was a stretch in the offseason I didn't post anything because there was no football and my video game stuff didn't do anything. But I'm still going to do that this offseason. Anyway, Washington. Then we move on to an AFC West showdown. The Las Vegas Raiders and the Denver Broncos, which Raiders coming off of the win against Cleveland, like I said. Denver coming off of a win against the Jets. Vegas may be without Max Crosby again. If everything I'm hearing is true, they will be without Devontae Adams. I doubt he'll be traded by the weekend, but he'll be out with an injury. Denver's got a really good defense, but a very poor offense. And if the defense doesn't show up for Vegas, that offense for Denver will look great. Because they like to do that from time to time. Andy Dalton. Denver, not much of an offense, so they're going to have to rely on the defense to hold down Minshew and the boys, which, to be honest, it's not hard. But I have to give the edge to the Raiders. It's not going to be a pretty game. Nobody's going to be expecting 30-plus points on either side. They might not even make 30 combined. But I think the Raiders have the edge barely. Please beat the Broncos. Keep that streak. Go 9-0 against them. Please. Next, Arizona Cardinals taking on the San Francisco 49ers NFC West matchup. Arizona got thwomped by Washington, and San Francisco handled business against New England. I'm no sugarcoating here. San Francisco should win. San Francisco. I'm picking San Francisco. The 49ers are the better football team. Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. are playing very well, but that's about it. James Conner is actually running pretty well. I watched the highlights of last week's game. Conner was running like a madman. And he'll probably continue to do that. But they're going to have to rely on the passing game. And Murray is not hitting anywhere near where he should be. I don't trust their offense. I don't trust their defense either. So, San Francisco. Next, Green Bay Packers taking on the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are depleted. Like, they are no one really on offense. Kyron Williams and nope. I blanked. There's no other wide receiver that I can think of. There's no other offensive playmaker on the Rams I can think of. Like, Rams just lost to the Bears. Anyway, Packers coming off the divisional loss against the Vikings, but the Vikings are a much better team than the Rams. And with Love back and having another week of practice, able to get in and get his timing back, get his rhythm, get the feel, I'm going Green Bay. There's not much to that one. Jacobs should do well. That defense should be able to hold Matthew Stafford. Sorry, Rams. Next, we have the New Jersey Giants taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Giants just lost to the Cowboys, but they have an extra few days of rest because it was played Thursday night. Seattle coming off of a loss Monday against the Lions. A loss that they weren't really in. They weren't really in the game. But I got to go Seattle. The Seahawks, they have Kenneth Walker back. I believe Charbonnet did play on Monday. But they have Kenneth Walker back, who went crazy. I think 3 touchdowns against the Lions. Metcalf, Lockett, Smith and Jigba. Seattle has the pieces. And they have a layup against the Giants. Watch them screw it up. I hope not. But Seahawks. Next, we have Dallas Cowboys taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday Night Football. Dallas is struggling, and they're only 2-2, which a struggling football team at 2-2, honestly, I would take that, which granted the Raiders are 2-2, but we don't need to get into that. If you have high expectations and you go 2-2 in the first 4 games, you failed, because you should at least be 3-1. Pittsburgh, nobody gave them the chance. I bet you, if you ask Steelers fans before the beginning of the year, first 4 games you're 3-1, they would have laughed at you. I don't know, with Russ or Fields, I didn't think the offense was going to be that good, and they're not. But they're carried by their defense. And I believe they will be carried by their defense again. Pittsburgh with the win. So, we move on to Monday Night Football, where it is Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints going into Kansas City to take on Patty Mahomes and the Chiefs. And I thought about this one, and I would love to go with the Saints. But Derek Carr does not have a great track record in Kansas City. And the 2 losses that they have had this year have been because of the defense giving up a late game drive after taking the lead, which Derek Carr is used to in his career in his 9 years with the Raiders. I don't see them matching up well against the Chiefs. Even though they're playing like booty cakes, they're still the 2-time defending champs. They still have Worthy. They won't have Rashee Rice. Kareem Hunt, whatever. If the Saints can make it all about the run game, I think they win. But when it's Patrick Mahomes, he'll pull something out of his ass. Taking the Chiefs. So there you go. There are my picks for Week 5 of the 2024-25 NFL season. I didn't mention Detroit, Los Angeles Chargers, Philadelphia, and Tennessee. They're all on bye. So, yeah, they kind of got the shaft with the early bye. Sucks to be them. Anyhow, that's it. Love to hear your thoughts. Let me know who you got this weekend. And hope to see you in the next one. Till then, have a good one. Later.